Hey everyone, it's Elise. Welcome back to the channel. And today I want to talk about how wages are not keeping up with the cost of living. And specifically, I thought about making this video because I was reading an article how flight attendants are not making a lot of money at all on average. Apparently, American Airlines has this verification of employment and salary benefits letter that they allow their employees who are flight attendants use to kind of be proof to banks or offices that are in need of figuring out proving their financial situation, that they do indeed work for American Airlines and they do indeed are expectant of getting this amount of money per year from them as a company. And that amount was $27,300 and something dollars. So let's round up to $28,000. And I imagine people use this if they're buying a car, applying for an apartment, or buying a home. A lot of those situations, people want kind of like proof of things, especially if it's on the lower end, just to make sure that you have the money that you say you have. But $28,000 shocks me because I'm like, how is that something that is doable? And specifically for flight attendants, because most airports are in large cities. So for here, it would be Miami or Fort Lauderdale Airport. $28,000 is not going to help. I would say you need at least $50,000, but 65 to not even be comfortable, but not be super concerned. 75 would be perfect, or 75 would be better. But 28,000, like, I know most of flight attendants, or I would say half and half. Some of them live in their actual hub cities and some of them don't, so they fly in. So I guess if you live in a cheaper place and you fly into your hub to do your work for that week, it might be doable. Or maybe you don't live by yourself, or maybe you have a spouse that you has an income as well that you can rely on. But I just think it's sad. It's a sad state of affair that from one job you can't live your whole life. And this article made me realize that that is becoming a harder and harder thing to do. Now, ostensibly, being a flight attendant, it seems like a nicer than usual job to have. It's glamorous, you get to travel, it's a flexible situation, and on the outside looking in, they always look like they're happy. That's part of being in hospitality though. But I mean, they always look great. They always have a beat down if they're a lady. Their hair is always coiffed. They're ultimately looking good, smelling better, and they're generally pleasant. And the men are always very pleasant too and well put together as well. And you know, because they're smiling, generally you think you'd be happy. But reading this article, I'm like, are y'all really crying inside though? Are y'all putting on this front for us because it's part of your job, but it's just at home you're like, how am I paying my bills? Because if that's the case, I feel so bad, because like they deserve better than that. They really do, because $28,000 is like a smack in the face, especially when I also saw in the article that the CEO for American Airlines made $31 million in 2023. And that's with an M, as in mom, $1 million. And it just seems grossly uneven. And I don't know how things can continue that way. We shall see, but I'm not really sure how we continue that way. I did find out from the Bureau of Labor Statistics that the average salary for a flight attendant in 2023 was $71,000. But average is not telling the whole story, because average is from both extremes and everything. So you can have someone who didn't work at all, that'll bring the average down. Or you can have someone that worked super crazy 200 hours per week because they needed to get some paychecks out because they have a financial goal, and it'll bring the average up. So 71 and 28 are drastically different. So I don't know how much that average is really telling the whole story. I couldn't find a mean value, which talks about how many people in the middle make, but hopefully it's better than 28,000 drastically, but I'm doubtful that it is. Also in the article, it talked about how a flight attendant works an average of 75 hours a week, which comes out to less than 20 hours a week. And I think that is also weird, because do y'all remember a few years ago, which I'm probably sure it's the same thing, people couldn't get a flight because they didn't have enough people to work. So why is it, if you don't have enough people to work, why do they average only work 20 hours a week? I would think you'd have people running to be full-time so they can get more money, so they can make more than $28,000 a year. Now, I did do some of my own research and I did find out that they are trying to get paid more. There's an association of professional flight attendants that is trying and working on their behalf to get a raise. However, this is the union for the flight attendants who work for American Airlines, but they don't have as much bargaining power, and that's because apparently flight attendants can't strike under federal law. Kind of makes sense, because could you imagine if they did? That would cause so much chaos in our country. Kind of like bringing it back to 9/11 days. Like all the flights were downed and economies can't move. People can't get to where they need to go. Like flight is a thing, but it's a currency. There has to be a flow. It can't be stagnant. So they do not have the leverage power like the actors did last year and the auto workers did last year. They're not allowed to strike. So even though their union is working for them, I believe the union is trying to get them a 33% raise, which would equate to $90 per hour. And I'm not going to argue. I think everybody should get paid a decent amount. And if that's the math that they came up with, I'm okay with it. And people who complain and say, well, if you pay these people that, you need to pay these people that. True. I'm not in disagreement with you, because if we have CEOs that are making millions of dollars, then there's a budget for it. It's all about priorities. So yeah, this isn't a long video. I just wanted to talk about how I don't know how the wages are keeping up with the cost of living. And you would think that these flight attendants made more money, but they don't. And if I wanted to be a flight attendant, seeing that, I would change my mind, because there are other ways to make money where you don't have to be away from your family as much, and you don't have to be robbing from Peter to pay Paul. So what do y'all think? Do y'all think that they should be paid money? Are you shocked at the fact that they're not getting as much? And are there any other positions out there that you know of that you thought were more glamorous than they were? Drop down in the comments and let me know, and I'll see y'all next week. I'm not in disagreement with you, because if we have CEOs that are making millions